New York City, the Roaring Twenties. A time of jazz, ambition, and crime. Amidst the chaos of warring gangs, one man saw not just violence, but opportunity. His name was Charles "Lucky" Luciano, and he wasn't just another street tough. He was a visionary who would become the architect of modern organized crime in America. Before Luciano, the mafia was a messy, brutal world of turf wars and endless bloodshed. Old-world Sicilian bosses, known as Mustache Pete's, ruled through fear and tradition. But Luciano, a young, forward-thinking gangster, saw a different path. He believed that constant war was bad for business. His solution was radical, and it would change the underworld forever. In 1931, after orchestrating a ruthless power grab, Luciano called a meeting of the most powerful crime bosses in the nation. This wasn't a setup for a massacre. It was the birth of a corporation. He proposed the Commission, a governing board for the American Mafia. It was a national syndicate where bosses would sit down like businessmen, settling disputes with votes instead of bullets. They'd carve up territories, share information, and cooperate on a national scale. Luciano had turned street gangs into a structured, efficient, and horrifyingly profitable empire. He had created the American Mafia as we know it, but just as he reached the pinnacle of his power, his empire came crashing down. In 1936, Special Prosecutor Thomas E. Dewey successfully convicted Luciano on charges of compulsory prostitution, sending him to prison for decades. Locked away, it seemed his reign was over, but Luciano's influence was far from finished. World War II erupted, and the American coastline was vulnerable. U.S. Naval intelligence grew desperate to secure the New York docks, a hotbed of espionage and potential sabotage. They needed eyes and ears on the ground, someone the longshoremen and dock workers would listen to. And who controlled the docks? The imprisoned Lucky Luciano. In a secret deal known as Operation Underworld, Luciano allegedly used his network to guarantee the safety of the New York harbor. He passed information, prevented strikes, and kept the waterfront secure for the war effort. In return for his patriotic service, his sentence was commuted. But freedom came with a price. He would be deported, exiled from the country he had reshaped. In 1946, Luciano was put on a ship back to Italy. He would never set foot in America again. From his exile, he lived like a fallen king, constantly watched by both Italian and American law enforcement. He was a celebrity in Naples, holding court in cafes, but he was always an outsider. Though suspected of pulling the strings of the international drug trade, he could never regain the control he once had. He spent his final years chasing a ghost of legitimacy, forever haunted by the criminal empire he had built. He died of a heart attack in 1962 at Naples International Airport. Ironically, just as he was about to meet with a movie producer to tell his life story, Lucky Luciano didn't just rule the mafia, he reinvented it, and in doing so, he changed the rules of crime forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another dive into history's most compelling figures. See you next time.